financially, mentally, relationships, and so on. Update. Wow, this thread really gained attention. Thanks to the person who gave me my first platinum award on Reddit. Please send me a direct message as I can't find your name in my inbox. There are so many interesting answers in this thread. I'm glad to see so many men doing well later in life, especially those who are late bloomers. And for the men who are still figuring themselves out, spoiler, we all are. Don't be too hard on yourself. Remember, as long as you don't give up, you always have a chance to turn things around. Who knows what an amazing person in the future you will be. Lastly, enjoy the little moments in life and days when things were simpler. Story 1. Half pleased and half disappointed, I reckon. Relationship-wise, I achieved a lot of what I hoped for, but I'm probably not as far in my career as I would have hoped, though I didn't have clear career goals back then. Story 2. My 12 to 16-year-old self would look at my love life and say, yep, figures. My 10 to 14-year-old self would be impressed we could pay for our entire grocery bill. My 16 to 19-year-old self would be proud of how our kids grew up. Story 3. He would have a lot to look forward to. I think he would be pretty excited about where he is going to be later in life. Good job, great wife, in way better shape at 40 than I ever was as a teen. Story 4. He would think I'm a badass, playing video games as much as I want unless I'm working. Having my own place, my own car, never taking nonsense from anyone. Story 5. Teenager me. So you're still friends with them? Current me. Yeah, we still play video games together and sometimes drink and talk about anything, so treasure them. Teenager me. Will she fall in love with me? Current me, nope. But you'll meet someone better. She will love you and accept you for who you are. Teenager me. How about in high school? When will this pain end? Current me, just go through with it, college is way better. You'll meet a lot of amazing people. To be honest, I'm still best friends with them. Life will be better. Story 6. 13 no friends, loner, book nerd. 16 wrestler, no friends, hot girlfriend. 19 freshly in college, starting engineering, making friends. The first two would be surprised at the girl I was with, the fact that I had kids, and the fact that I did not hate myself. They would all be pretty taken aback at me being bisexual though. Story 7. He would think I was pretty cool. As a teenager, I was a poor, skinny high school dropout who had confidence issues and a weed habit. I didn't know how to talk to girls, I didn't really know how to fight, and I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. Now, at 38, I'm 250 pounds of mostly muscle. I work out 5 days a week, have a beautiful wife, a nice house in a nice neighborhood, a healthy savings and investment account, 2 great kids, and a successful construction management career. I have also served in the military, studied martial arts, traveled to several countries, and had experiences I could only dream of growing up in a single-parent household in a poor neighborhood. Story 8. I think he would be disappointed in me financially and professionally. That's for sure because I grew up like most American kids in the 1980s, just assuming that I would be a rich professional by 25. I think he would be disappointed in my apartment and my car. I was and am for the most part superficial. But he would be very impressed with my television, my phone, and my video games, and aghast that I don't spend more time with them. Since my 13 or 14-year-old self would never have cared about my emotional journey or mental well-being, he'd be very happy that my home is clean, as I grew up in a messy hoarder house, but disappointed for the most part. My 14-year-old self would take one look at my partner and start grinning. I may not see leagues the way I did then, but I guarantee that if I saw my girlfriend when I was a teenager, I would have immediately thought, nope, out of my league. But by God, I would have daydreamed about her being mine. If there is anything that would have truly impressed my teenage self, it would be the woman I have the privilege of loving. Story 9. He would probably think that despite the weird and questionable things I do on Reddit, he would now have a better idea of how to become what he always wanted to be in the future, where to begin and how to do so. When I was a teen, I always wanted to be self-employed. I just didn't know where to begin. If it were vice versa and I met my future self when I was 17, that's how I would feel. Story 10. He would say this is boring as hell. All he watches is the news and sports, doesn't eat sweet stuff, doesn't go biking anymore, sleeps for 6 hours and spends a lot of time working. Story 11. So, when do you have fun? Are you chained to a desk this much every week? And why are you overweight and losing hair? He would be glad that in 25 years he would be able to buy anything he wanted. But he would be surprised at how little his 40-something-year-old self really wants. And he would be shocked at what it takes just to have the basics of life covered. Story 12. He would probably think I was pretty lame because I did everything he said I would never do, such as having a lot of children. He would likely be impressed with my career choice, though. Story 13. He would not recognize anything of himself in the man he met and would be shocked, scared, and concerned about the multiple wounds within my soul that made me lose my faith in humanity. Nonetheless, given the deeply idealistic fool that child was, he would probably be more proud of me than I am of myself. Maybe he would take a look at the path and ask, "How could you keep going?" And I would reply, "No one gave me that choice." But it would be a paradox, because if that guy knew what was coming, he would not have had the strength to face it. Story 14, probably disappointed, to be honest. I was a naive young man with delusions of grandeur, I think. I'd be sure to offer some advice to my younger self with that 2020 hindsight, but I'm sure we all would. Avoid doing certain things, recognize important facts about yourself, seek treatment for mental issues earlier, and don't hold any other person to higher standards of behavior than anyone else, including family. Story 15. I think the current me would hate teenage me, but teenage me would probably be in awe of the current me in every aspect. I have glowed up and matured a lot since high school. Story 16. He would be surprised and impressed, but also a little disappointed. Surprised because my teenage self had low self-esteem and did not think he would be capable of so much. Impressed because I have accomplished a lot and have become much more confident. Disappointed because he used to think he would find that perfect relationship that completes him. However, I would let him know that I learned how to complete myself and that I found happiness in myself. I do not think I ever imagined that was possible as a teenager. Story 17. He would be really motivated to see that I escaped the depression of high school and now live in my own apartment with my cat, video games, and a ton of Legos. Story 18. I'd disappear before my eyes as I swore if my epilepsy got worse, I'd kill myself. Well, it's gotten to the point I've never driven, can't leave home alone. I grew up to become a child basically, and I know I would have done it then as I wasn't being checked on regularly. Now, because of the constant seizures I get weekly, I have severe depression, extreme anxiety, agoraphobia, and am all around miserable. I'm intentionally smoking tobacco in hopes of getting cancer just so I can die without giving my parents the shame of having a son kill himself and leaving them wondering what went wrong. Before I'm told I need one, I have a therapist, but when it comes to talking, I don't have the energy. I always end up tired and need sleep just after a conversation with someone. I miss working. At least I had something to keep me busy. Story 19. He would be surprised at my level of education, the attractiveness of my wife, and the amount of inner work I have done. But he would be disappointed that I still haven't ironed out some character defects. Also disappointed I haven't developed a strong identity or have certainty about things. Story 20. That I was much cooler, happier, and more confident than he felt he was or could ever be, and that maybe suicide wasn't such an inevitability as he thought. Story 21. He would think I am disappointing and pathetic and that I wasted so much potential. He would be glad to see I still have all my hair, though, and did not get fat. Story 22. Probably disappointed but hopeful. At 18, as a senior in high school, I was an all-state runner in both cross-country and track, had good grades, and was highly motivated. Now at 25, I haven't done horribly, but I like to think I'd be further along in my career than I am now. I was so optimistic about the future at 18. Story 23. In half a year, I am going to a military school for sergeants. I think I would be more surprised than him. Back then, I was really thin and even underweight with no muscles at all, no real plan for the future, and no self-confidence. I was a nerd. Now, I am a tool engineer, have friends, got pretty muscular, and with muscles, there came self-confidence. Shortly, what I would have never believed if someone told me back then, I am going to become a soldier, which has been my dream since I was little because my dad and grandfather both were soldiers. But I am still a nerd. But looking back, I understand why I got bullied. Story 24, horny girlfriend, own place, own room, own money, no high school nonsense, and no morning commute because information technology dude works from home during the pandemic. He would be purple with envy. Story 25, apart from smoking, my teenage self would be very proud of me. I am achieving most of my young self's dreams, and it's more about human values and social circle than anything else. Story 26, probably think I am a crazy person for doing all that I've done and are shocked I am even alive, but we would probably smoke a fat bowl after the fact and just talk. Story 27, I think about this all the time. There's a song called The Man I Want to Be, and a line in that song is, would the child when I was younger love the man that I've become? So, I don't know if younger me would be impressed, but he definitely wouldn't be disappointed. The only thing he wanted was friends and attention. Even though I still don't have many friends, I've come to learn to love myself and be okay being my own company. Story 28, think he would be proud in a lot of ways. Mostly that he was able to let things go. Things that seemed so important back then mean less than nothing to him in the future. Holding on to old anger causes more damage than he realized. Story 29, teenage me would think I'm cool for having a debit card and all the eating out I do. Other than that, most likely disappointment. Not going to lie, teen me had everything together because I had my parents on my back. Story 30, he would definitely be concerned. Lonely, twice as horny, and now getting treatment for mild depression. I never ever thought I would have mental health issues in high school. I was so content except for girls, but I didn't feel it as heavily because I knew I was young. Sorry to let you down, brother. 4th year of university and we're here. Story 31. My 10 to 15-year-old self would have thought, why aren't you a basketball player? My 15 to 17-year-old self would think, how did you get 2 master's degrees being so lazy? My 18 to 20-year-old self would think, I guess my life isn't going to end up badly. Story 32. I was basically a dropout from a broke family with a drug problem. I didn't know anything about anything. I worked at a gas station and didn't think I could ever be successful. I probably smoked away 90% of my paychecks. I've now been to dozens of countries and speak 2 languages other than English, graduated from college with top honors at 27, and won a very prestigious research fellowship. I'm now a well-paid consultant. I think he'd say something like, how did that happen? I got an interesting decade ahead of me. I tell him to start loving himself unconditionally, to be assertive and transparent with his feelings, to work out more, and to quit smoking before having to deal with that addiction at 29. If I had the choice of whether or not to do this, I might not. I think I needed the uncertainty and, frankly, the fear of following my mom's footsteps to accomplish everything I did. Story 33, he would probably have a meltdown. He would be upset that I know how to make video games but don't, since being a game developer is his dream job at the time. He would be unable to process the fact that he's gay. He would be shocked that he lives with roommates instead of having his own house. He would be excited that future him has a sweet, fluffy cat. He would also be excited that instead of being super skinny, he became beefy and muscular. Story 34. Honestly, I think she would be very sad and very happy all at once. She would be relieved I am no longer in the terrible place I once was, but she would probably ask what happened to my mom and family. Story 35. I think he would be amazed at the transformation. When I was a teenager, I had zero luck with women and dating. I could barely talk to any girl I was attracted to, whereas now I find it fairly easy. Maybe a little disappointed at where I am financially, but I was not to know how difficult and expensive being an adult was back then. Mentally, I would not believe that we are the same person. I still suffer from anxiety from time to time, but the progress I have made in the last 7 to 8 years is quite incredible. All in all, I think teenage me would be very happy to know what life in my 20s would be like compared to what I expected anyway. Story 36. I would spend each day kicking the shit out of him. It's bad enough I'm in my own way mentally. To have an external self I would not be able to put up with. More than likely, I would have a level of resentment and renewed self-hate as teenage me slowly realized we became my dad. Story 37. I think overall the dominant traits I have today as a person financially and in a relationship were already there as a teenager and there are no real surprises. I'm just slightly less horny, a bit more resistant to peer pressure, and have gotten rid of some rough edges socially. Story 38. Financially, woohoo. Mentally, woohoo, you're still alive. Relationship, you're married, and you have intimacy 4 times a year and have no friends? Kids, wow, you have awesome kids. Story 39. He would be shocked that I love casual sex, that I changed my mind about getting married by 25, having tattoos, and drinking socially. He would be happy that I am happy now and wouldn't believe I would be as successful as I am. More importantly, he would probably think my life is much more interesting than what he originally envisioned. Story 40. I can only hope he would be satisfied knowing that things turned out well in the end. Probably surprised that I made it through college and waited in the Atlantic and Pacific. Story 41. 15-year-old me would be impressed. Excited to see I have found a wonderful and handsome partner and have the perfect relationship. She would think it is super cool that I build websites and do graphic design. She would be impressed that I have done at least something with my music, that I am financially stable, and that I have found genuine inner peace and that I am happy. 18-year-old me may be slightly less impressed, wondering why I have not done more with my passion for music, but she would be happy knowing that I am safe, happy, and all moved out in a safe new home. I think she would be impressed with my mindset and how much I have moved on from sadness and trauma. I think she would be impressed with my healing a lot. It would probably give her a lot of hope. Also, she would think my paintings are amazing,